Welcome, my name is Tashara and this is StarMade. This episode should have been out last week, but Minecraft 1.16 dropped, so I had to kind of check out all the new features in the latest update. So yeah, update for this video is a week later because of that. But let's continue with our project here, because there's a couple of things I want to show you in this episode. It's not going to be all interior, but a large part of it will be. Um, because yeah, that's mainly the biggest part. I still need to finish off this ship, of course. But there's one other thing I want to look at as well, and that's basically the turret system again, because this is, I think, about the third time I taken a step at the turret design. But mainly it's going to be regarding these AMS turrets over here. I don't quite like the design how it is now, and I think I can do a bit better with rounding out the design of this turret. Doesn't really mean I'm not going to do anything about these turrets, because I have some ideas for that as well, but we'll get back to that later. Because we will start with a bit of interior for this episode, because last time we did this part over here with the giant chess set in the middle. And yeah, some people did notice that the chessboard in here isn't exactly the right amount of squares. Yeah, it's missing one row, and I couldn't fit it in here and make it centered. So it's 7 by 7 instead of 8 by 8 as it should be. So let's just say it's Space Wizard kind of chess. I don't know. 7 by 7 is all I can do here. But I do want to fill out this area with the office space I wanted to put in here a bit, at least get a bit of a floor plan going. And I also want to see what I can do on this side of the ship, because this is not going to be the same type of interior as I have on this side, because this is connecting, for example, to the library over here, and that's not the case on this side of the ship, because there's no entrance to the library here. So yeah, I have to think of a bit of a different approach for this side. Over here we have the entrance to our office space that we want to build here, and I did a bit of blocking out the area. So you start here with this reception area over here with some sort of fake backdrop wall with some lights behind it, and we can of course give it a bit more color and stylize some sort of logo in it. And then on this side I'm mainly going to add, I think, some sort of meeting room for the office. Then we have, for example, a coffee corner over here, and over here something else. And then this will be the main office area. It should be big enough to get a lot of office type of desks and other things in here, I think. So blocking out this area is basically done in my opinion, but detailing is something I'm going to leave for now, because I want to concentrate on getting the layout of this floor done first. Because on the other side, I started experimenting a bit with these whole block areas that I copied to see how I could connect this short hallway over here, same as the one over here, to the rest of the deck. And I decided to go for a bathroom again on this side, so that's also asymmetrical, and then have some sort of hallway connecting to this end to a central area over here. So we will have a central area, central plaza-like area within this side of the ship as well, but it's in a different area compared to the other side of the ship, and it's slightly bigger, I think. So yeah, this also connects directly to this area with the glass tubes over here. And I have to think of something that goes inside this bigger area, because it's, in my opinion, needs an specific purpose to have this bigger area within the ship. And then I have all this space left over for additional office space as well. And this is far more space than I have on the other side of the ship. Now that I put in some of the wall elements, you can see how big this space actually is within this area of the ship. So yeah, there really needs to be something in the middle of this space because it's far too empty to leave like this. Connects to the basically the typical hallway design I already had. And I've got some space over here for some technical stuff you can look into. Always gives it a bit of a variation. And then on this end we have the door to the rest of the ship. And of course this empty space we still have left over. So I think I'm going to build a door here on this end of the hallway to connect to the rest of the office areas. So then we have this main office area here in the middle, and then perhaps some sort of archive room on this end or something like that. But we'll see what we can think of. It's also not something I'm going to do today, I think. It's just going to be blocking it out. I put in the main walls for this area now, and of course my patented bathroom design that you've seen a million times now already. And I blocked out this area over here, so we've got this reception area over here, then we continue into the main office area, and then like I said, some sort of archive room or something else on this end of the ship. But that's for detailing for later for now. But what I want to concentrate on now is getting this space filled, because at the moment I don't have a very good idea what I want to put here. And here we go. I struggled a bit on what exactly to build in the middle of this room, and I ended up with this thing. I hope you can see it correctly. This is a very small translucent model of this ship. So if I move around it, you can see it a bit better, I think. And the idea is to have this translucent hologram of this ship within the space. So if a visitor comes here, then he can press a button or something like that, or something else, and then he can get information about the ship and what is available and what is where. So certain parts can light up. I would love to actually do that, but I don't think I can at the moment, because I am experimenting a bit with putting screens in the wall, for example, and then having text float out here to indicate where certain areas are. But the problem is, as soon as you move your camera away from the monitor and it's off your screen, for example, it's over there in the wall, and then you move your camera over here, then the text will disappear, even if it is still technically within your vision. It's basically has to do with not rendering blocks that are not shown by the camera. Normally it would help because it improves your frame rate, etc. But in this case, it is not really helping with the displays I want to use. I would really like if you could use a display block as a sort of hologram offset kind of thing. So just offset it by 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many blocks, and then have the text float within that certain space and still be visible, even if you no longer looking at the display block itself. And even bigger characters would be better, because at the moment it's only up to size 2, I think, and that's not really big as far as text is concerned. Yeah, that's something for the future, I think. Perhaps a feature once the universe updates for this game. At least I hope. But for now, I think this will do. This hologram gives at least a good function for this area, and rounds out what I want to do on this side of the ship, because it's different than the other side. I didn't do much with the office yet, but I did create this well, sort of reception waiting area over here, then have this door panel over here to the rest of the office. But I'm not a big fan of this door design at the moment. But like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these offices yet. I'll leave the detailing for later. But for now, this is all connected with the rest of the ship. So the entire deck on this level is now done. As you can see, I kept it all off with this red circuit board that I always place between the between floors. So now the only thing I have to think of is filling in this part of the deck, and then I'm basically done with the interior. Before we continue with the completing of the interior, I want to talk turrets again. As you can see over here, I've got two different designs for my AMS turret. This is the original one, and this is the slightly modified version of my turret. So it's basically the same, but the body of the turret is a bit more beefier with the darker gray border around it and a bit more aggressive looking, I think. And I changed the barrel section slightly as well. As you can see here, it's slightly wider than the design I've got going here, because I use slabs over here and, well, basically use the full blocks on this one on the end and then use slab after that. But the overall performance of the AMS turret is exactly the same, so I didn't change any of the systems, just the look and feel of this turret design. And I like this a lot more as far as the design goes. So I think I'm going to replace all the AMS turrets with this second design I've got going over here. And that's exactly what I did. So now all the AMS turrets are my new design. But that's not the only thing I worked on with the turret designs, because I also worked on the bigger one. You might not see a difference all that soon, but perhaps you see it now. Yeah, the turrets here I changed slightly. Basically made the turret barrels a bit well, not wider, but I placed them more to the side and then added this middle bit here between them. And this design also allows me to add a lot more system blocks within the turret itself. So it's basically about twice as powerful now, I think, as far as systems go. Even if the design is not really that different than it was before. But it did help quite a lot with the performance of the turret design itself. So yeah, this is my, like I said, third attempt, I think, on these turrets now. But I'm quite liking the result I have right now going for this. So that's as far as turret design goes. I want to concentrate for the rest of the episode on one other area. I did show you the deck that I still haven't done yet, the part that needs to be done. But that's not the only part within the ship that doesn't have an interior, because I forgot I've got this very large space here in the front. This used to house my stabilizing blocks. But that was before the quickfire update, and I have my power blocks around about here. And in the old system, you had to keep distance from the power and the stabilizers into account. And you could do that over multiple axes. So I placed some stabilizers over here, and then all the way in the back of the ship I placed them as well, just to spread them out a bit. But I didn't have to do that anymore, so I removed them from over here and ended up with this big empty space. So we have to do something with this, and I've got a slight idea what I might want to do. But first we have to connect it to the rest of the ship to make use of it, and the only logical place to connect it to is to this storage area over here. This connects to the main hangar bay over here. It's the same on both sides, but yeah, I think we'll have to do a bit of creative redesigning of this area to make it fit. When you don't know what to do, just put in a lot of stairs. At least that seems to work for me over here. So what I did is I created this stair catwalk combination. You can go up the stairs here. Then on the left you have a door, and then you enter this weird area over here that we want to fill in with interior. And then you continue on to over here to this catwalk on top, then access these ramps up here where all the cargo is. But because I added these stairs and ramps, I don't think it's a very good idea to give this area the same type of just dump all the cargo in a big block type of treatment. I want to do something a bit different with this area, and I just got the perfect suggestion for that from my previous video. So let me show you. Shelves, lots and lots of shelves for storage, and I even got this little flying robot over here that can pull out some cargo over here or put it back. I'm not quite sure about this design yet because well, it is so small. I'm not sure if it's exactly clear what it is, but we'll think of a couple of other designs as well to see what we like best. But yeah, this was a really good comment to have some sort of mass shelf storage area for products that the shops sell, for example, or perhaps extra storage for the restaurants we have on the ship. But basically, you can access all the shelves now through these catwalks. And then above here we have some the same yellow marking I did in the kitchen storage with the main restaurant, and for example red ones over here. But yeah, it's all shelf storage that we've got over here. This is also different now than the main storage of the ship itself that had the bulk storage like this that we had in the old design. So this can stay the same, but then it will be different than the ones we have in the front. I did add these ladders here, by the way. I didn't show that before. Just so you can sort of access this top part of the storage shelves, even if you don't go there as a human all that often, just for maintenance purposes or something like that. But yeah, it's there now. It's a little bit of added detail. Yeah, this now has its own feel. It's the same on the other side, so it is mirrored, but I can do something different with the flying robots, or having some different colors for the storage areas. But yeah, the next part is filling in this area now that it is basically accessible from the rest of the ship. The main idea I have for this very long narrow space is make use of this very long narrow space. Sounds logical, correct? But basically what I mean is if I have some sort of tube system with an exit at the front of the ship, I can use this to launch probes from the ship. So yay, more docked entities. I just like to use them. My first thought was to have the exit of the probe launching tube on this side of the ship, but I started experimenting with different placement, and I think I like this placement a bit better. It fits a bit more nicely into the exterior of the ship design. So I'll probably have to move the actual tube here on the top in the area, and then have all the machinery at the bottom. And here we go. We've got this big long glass tube in the middle over here, and I already did some wall detailing for this area, and it exits at the front of the ship with the shootout rails and of course the door. And as you can see, I already have a probe docked. Designed this little bolt probe quite a while back, actually, once the quickfire was out. This is basically a repair drone because we don't have a actual probe system in place in StarMade at the moment, but perhaps something for the future as well. And then behind here I've got this red light area. This is basically my idea, pretend idea, to have some sort of shipyard over here that could create more probes once they are expanded, and then store them in this glass tube section. because I should be able to store 7 of these probes within this area before it runs out. And like I said, then you could probably create more in here and then fill this tube up again. But only if you enable shipyards on ships. I don't intend to build a shipyard in here in the default settings. You can add that yourself if you like. But we still have this empty space below the tube, so I want to create some sort of machinery over here that will support this shootout tube thing. And some sort of control area at the front over here, or in the back, or whatever you want to call it, to wire up the logic to shoot out the probes itself. And lighting and machinery added. This livens up the place quite a lot. I've got 2 things in here that are basically logic controls. We've got a single button marked drone. Basically tells what it says. If you press it, then you launch a drone. So let's do that. Press this one, and as you can see up here, the drones all move up one spot. So now this spot here is empty, and they move all the way to the front. So if you move to the front of the ship, you can see that one of the drones launched. So basically what I did is I divided up all the logic steps. This is just the shootout rail. This green part over here is to keep them docked again, because I don't have a new shipyard on my ship to create new drones. And every time one is shot out, then the next one is in the exact correct spot to be shot out next, until basically the magazine is empty of drones. And below here I created this sort of, I'm not sure what I call them, magnetic accelerators or something like that, some sort of repeating machinery that would help assist shooting out the drones at a good speed. You could even say that you could basically modify this system to shoot out some sort of armed drone, some sort of mine. Yeah, it's not really the function of the ship, but it's a flexible system. And over here we've got this this wall with these lights in it, and this indicates how many drones are still left within the magazine. So one of the lights is off, so we only have the remaining lights on. Those are the drones left over. So if you press it again, then you can see that once they are in place, you can see that all the lit up lights are the drones remaining, and the 2 last lights are off because 2 drones have been launched right now in space. I think this area turned out quite nice, because it is such a narrow and high area. It was quite difficult to think of something, but this gives it a function, and it even looks logical within this confined space. So I think it turned out the way I thought it would. But that's more than enough for now. I think this episode is going to be a long one, but like I said, I should have released this one last week, so I did a bit more than I would normally do within a week. If you have any other questions or comments, let me know down below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Until next time.